here today. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Business Over Coffee TV. We have a very special guest today, Steve Bradshaw, who is a relatively new friend, and Sherry Henley likes to say I bring him to the table, but I got to give a shout out to Nikki Hinton, his daughter, who really brings him to the table. And just from a personal note, I think one of the reasons that I connected so strongly with Steve in our first three-way meeting is that he loves his daughter and she loves her daddy. And I can really put myself back in the situation of having that daddy-daughter relationship with my dad, who's now a blessed memory. But we are going to talk about, this man is a serial entrepreneur.
Oh. You know where she was going with that one.
And for those of you who like to hear thrilling, adventurous stories about business, let me tell you, this guy can tell them. He has, for instance, raised $25 million in venture capital for a company that he has stepped back from, but that continues to thrive in Amsterdam. And he has now gone on to write about a serial killer. And this is based on a forensic pathologist, Elliot Sumner. And I hear that usually, whether we're writing either fiction or nonfiction, it is autobiographical. I throw the ball to you, Steve Bradshaw.
Well, thank you very much. First, let me say, if anyone saw the segment before, I think I found my groove.
Amen. I see your groove.
Thank you, Marcia, wherever you are.
I see your serial killer pathologist groove.
I found my groove. Actually, it all began years ago when I started my career. And I guess if you write stories or books, you can approach it a couple of ways. One is you can live a full life, and have expertise and experiences, and then you can write about that and get great publishers and editors to help you get the prose right and get what's in your head out. Or you can start writing and become great at writing and interview people and understand what they do. I obviously went the other way. John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas in 1964. I was at the University of Texas and graduated in '73, and they said that there are more questions after that than there were answers. And so Dallas set up the top forensic facility in the country, and I met one of the greatest forensic pathologists in the country and joined him as one of the youngest investigators in Texas history. And I was 24 years old, riding around in a sports car with a red light on the hood, and I was trained in forensics. No one could touch anything, and I was one of 7. And that was back when CSI was not cool. No one knew what we were doing, which was great because we caught everybody. Now they're smarter, but we were smarter too. But anyway, I took that life 3,000 cases later, and my wife said to me, if you're really, if this is your groove.
She didn't say that.
No, she didn't say groove, but some other word. You can do it, but if it's not, maybe we can do something, So I went into medical business, and I climbed the ladder, corporate ladder, and with major companies like Becton Dickinson and Dow Corning, and then started my own companies, raised capital, did those types of things, and learned how to take something that didn't exist in biotechnology and make it exist. And let me tell you, there's a whole different way of thinking, because everyone says, no, you can't do that. But you spend millions of dollars to do it. Now, I tell you all of this because it's in my books, and it's basically what I've done. It's not a serial killer per se. That's the big story. You've got a genius psychopath that is unstoppable. But you have a genius forensic investigator that's hunting him. He's the expert in the world. And the whole story is how he's chasing this guy. And really, it's a trilogy. And the trilogy there's something underneath all of this that's bigger and more epic. The trilogy is about a family called the Bells, and they're very wealthy, privileged people, and they live in Memphis. And basically, they have a dream. And their dream becomes an obsession. And then it becomes a nightmare. And I can give you a little hint. In book 1, you get to the end and you learn that Elliot Sumner, the investigator, is somehow connected to this psychopathic killer. And there are secrets that they have within. There are secrets that people will kill for. Book 2 goes into Gilgamesh, which is a secret organization of billionaires, and their quest is immortality. All right, so they've been doing some genetic experimenting back in the 60s, and Elliot discovers he's been part of an experiment. And the story begins. Now, there are 2,000 billionaires in the world. 200 of them, like-minded, had a dream. They wanted to live forever. So, you got $20 billion or $10 billion. What's a billion? Takes you 35 years to count a billion. So, obviously, they got into this process. I write like, I shouldn't say that. Dan Brown is my hero, Da Vinci Code. This is not just about a serial killer. This, although you will be holding on tight from the beginning to the whole book. But try to make it to where you might like this guy is a challenge as an author. He might not be what you think he is. And so that's what I write, and that's how I'm kind of rambling on here, but that's how I try to create something that would keep me interested.
So can I stop for
Yes.
T for a testimonial?
Yes.
He says that his target market is women of a certain age. It doesn't extend to 89 years old, which is the age of my mother. I bought these 2 books and had them autographed to my mother. She reads 3 books a week. So, yeah. So she gave it back to me and she said, "This is really good. I'm ready for the next one." She's 89 years old and is already hooked. So that's the biggest endorsement that I can give.
I'm going to go speak at the home soon. I
That's
think.
right, that's right. And the thing is, I told her, I said, "Mom, I really want to read this book." And she said, "Well, I'll be through with it in a day." And then gave it back to me and said, "I'm ready for the next one." So I'm sure that there's going to be a book club and the Steve Bradshaw fan club at the Solana.
Can I just comment on
Of
one
course,
thing that
yes.
on the books that I believe that when you read something and invest a lot of time in it, it takes you 3 days to read a book, that it better be worth it.
Yes.
And my books are entertaining, thought-provoking. Everything in it can happen. Nothing's fictional in terms, well, it's fiction from the standpoint of it's different people and all of that, but it can happen. But the takeaways from what I'm writing is that, evil exists in the world. It's there. I saw Life Unedited, and it is definitely there. But it's separate from circumstance. And I've discovered that how you overcome evil is conditions of the heart, more so than the brain. Brilliant people are evil. So, but it's the condition of the heart. So when you have Elliot Sumner struggles with this darkness he doesn't understand, and you have a psychopath, and you have other people, all these struggles, it really comes down to their heart, what's in their heart. And I try to show that through this, because we all stop, and look at evil, and we're wondering, what is that? How does it exist? How do I stop it? But it really comes down to humanity, and that's what is in the bottom line of my books.
Well, I know there are questions, but one of them is going to be, how can I get the book? And they go to www.stevebradshawauthor.com. His Twitter handle is @SBAuthor. That could be me. I'm Shelley. Facebook.com/SteveBradshaw.9400.
My books are all available at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, all places. So, and it's available in ebook or softcover. Don't do the hardcovers until I'm as big as Grisham. I don't know if that's going to ever happen.
Questions from the audience? Anybody?
When when's book number 3 going to be available?
Oh, that's a good question. He promised it
Thank
by
you.
Christmas for my mom.
Well, yeah, she scares me more than the publisher. And honestly, the publisher wants it around Christmas, and and I'm writing really hard. But I gotta say, I just found my groove with book 3. Book 3, I struggled for a while because I want it to be epic. I want it to be worth the next level, and so you search. And I had outlines and do all those kinds of things, but before you have to hit it before you know it. So I'm shooting for Christmas.
Good.
Maybe if they could publish it.
Yes.
Any advice for aspiring authors?
Yeah, and I tell you, advice is probably general for everything. My life has been an adventure, and quite frankly, I'm challenged by what I'm not doing, and so I've got to do it if I'm drawn to it. I never thought when I was going to go to medical school, I never thought I'd be a forensic investigator. I never thought I'd be start a company, and I didn't know I needed to raise $25 million and be a CEO. I had there's always 10 more people telling you you can't than there are that telling you you can. But the one thing I've learned that's probably the biggest thing in life since I've got some gray hair is that a lot of people go through life thinking they're not as smart as everyone else. Or they're maybe not, people are smarter than them. The fact is, you're smarter than most people. And you need to have that attitude when you see what your mission is, what you want to do, and don't let anything hold you back. And that's why I'm writing now. My goal is to write 20 some odd books and catch up to her mom.
So I'm going to sum that up by saying, face your fear and do it anyway.
Exactly.
So, well, Steve, thank you so much for coming on the
You're
show
great,
today.
great.
It's just fun to bring everybody together to share in the adventure and the excitement and passion that you have for the work that you do now.
Thank you.
But with the credibility of a long string of successes behind you. So it's been a real joy to get to know you, and we appreciate you being
Thanks
here.
for having me. I really appreciate it.
Business Over
very
Coffee
much.
Television. So we're bringing everyone together.
Thank you.